Hey there guys, and welcome to the session. In this video I want to show you how to safely retrieve keys and values from a dictionary. I'm going to do that using what's called the get method. So I'm going to write that here. Okay, so let me show you the problem we face first, and then how to use this to basically get a nice, consistent and more Pythonic way to retrieve data from a dictionary. So suppose, for example, we have a dictionary. In this case, we have a dictionary containing 3 items. So these are our keys: France, England, Spain, and they respectively have the values of Paris, London, and Madrid. So to access one of those, if I say print cities, square brackets, and say I want to access the value that belongs with the key of France, hit run, and there we go, that's fine. Now the situations where, of course, this is a tiny dictionary, where we may need to try and fetch values from a larger dictionary, but there may be a chance where the key may or may not be in there. So let's say, for example, say I pass in Ireland, and there we go, then we get a key error. So we're getting this because this key does not exist in here. It's like asking you to turn to, say, a non-existent page in a book, for example, something like that. So you can do things like this. You can do it kind of really imperatively. So let's suppose we have, let's say we do country. Let's pass in our string here. So you could potentially, make sure I spell that right, that would probably help. So you could do something like, if the country is in this, and then we can come along and pass that into here. And then maybe give like a little else, for example. There we go. So you could do something like that. And that's totally fine. It's a nice kind of imperative step-by-step approach to trying to get something out. Suppose we pass in a valid key. Just check this works. And yeah, cool, we get Madrid. That's totally fine. You can do this. In some situations, that's completely fine. However, what we can do is use Dictionary.get instead. So I'm going to blank this off for a second and introduce this get method. Now, whenever we do .get, you can effectively pass in, well, you have to pass in at least one thing, but you can pass in 2 things, which makes this pretty cool. So let's just fire it up. I want to show you the kind of type, hint, and suggestion this gives us here. So it's asking us for a key, okay? And this is basically you saying, try and get this. So try and go into the dictionary and get this key. So I'm going to start off by doing cities.get of country here. And then we're going to wrap this whole thing into a nice little print statement here, just to see what we get. Okay, print cities.get of country, and we get Madrid just as earlier here. Now what happens if this thing changes? Let's suppose we go ahead and try the non-existing key of Ireland, hit run, and this time we get none, so no error, but we did get none. And that this is the default behavior of the dictionary.get method. So it's basically saying, try and find this. However, if this doesn't exist, then go ahead and just return none instead. However, what you can do, you can get really fancy and pass it in like a default fallback value. So basically this. So if we run this now, there we go. That is the same as this here. In fact, if we run them side by side, there we go. Yeah, the only difference is I didn't put the 2 dots in. There we go. So this effectively is the equivalent of this here. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're having to do this, so maybe you're returning a load of JSON from a web request, and you want to figure out if a certain key is in there, maybe next time consider using the .get method, as it's a little bit snazzier, it's a little bit fancier, and I think generally looks a bit cooler than doing this kind of imperative approach here. Cheers for watching, guys, and have a great week.